Hello and welcome to the next episode of EGP Learning. I'm Andy.
And I'm Gandhi.
And we're here today to do a slightly different type of episode. This is the first of our super test episodes. So today we're looking into the world of digital assistants. That's Google Assistant, Alexa and Siri. Oh, Alexa might be about to pipe in there.
Sorry, I don't know them.
We might have to look at how we're dealing with that.
Yeah.
But we're going to be putting them through their paces in the realm of healthcare. We'll be comparing the results and giving our impressions and discussing the future possibilities of how things might develop in this exciting sector.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, we hope you enjoy this episode. It's slightly different to what we've normally done, and we're going to have different images that you're going to see as well. So the camera's going to go back and forth a teeny bit just to warn you. For those of you listening, you can't see what we're doing, but you should be able to hear it with great clarity. We're recording in multiple different ways for you guys. Cool. So what have you been up to first of all, Andy?
Oh gosh, primary care networks, Gandhi. That's probably about the long and short of it. Exciting developments. I know we had an episode with Nikki Kanani.
Which you guys have all hopefully seen or heard. So we just released that prior to this episode being recorded. Amazing thing, here from the Director of Primary Care of NHS England directly. And she talks about a variety of different things, particularly around primary care networks, health tech and digital primary care in particular, and a couple of extra geeky things that we managed to sneak in there, didn't we, Andy?
Yeah. So good. And what have you been up to, Gandhi? Anything exciting?
So similar to Andy, PCNs are just taking over everything right now because it's been Network Day just a couple of days ago, and obviously we're trying to get everything ready and stuff. In addition, quite a lot of stuff happening on the EGP learning front. So as hopefully some of you guys have seen, we have various different episodes, things like video consultations, standing in practice have been really popular and things. Any of that kind of content you guys want to see or hear, let me know. Also working on a social media course for GPs as well. And both Andy and I are speaking at some upcoming events in the near future. So I'm speaking at GP Futures event on the 8th of June in Birmingham. And we're both joining Aman Arora on the 17th of August, I think it is.
I think that's
his
right.
big AIT conference that he's got. And we've got our own local conference that we're doing on the
26th of June for the AIT leavers. And there's an event on the 5th of June for First Fives in Nottingham as well.
So loads of stuff coming through, and from those events we're going to try and capture some of the things that we're up to and things, so that hopefully you guys can also participate whilst not actually being there.
Yeah, we'll try and take the recording cameras along and get some content. Great. So some words to our sponsors.
Yeah.
So thanks to our ongoing sponsor, HTN, Health Technology News, the Health Tech newspaper, an innovative daily news and opinion website for the Health Tech network.
Actually, we forgot to mention we're joining them for Digital Week again. So Thursday, I've forgotten the date, the 16th of June, I think it is. It's the Thursday of that week at 6 p.m. Andy and I are doing an episode again for the HDN Digital Week people. So we're going to be looking at how to use technology to make working in practice quicker. So seriously, guys, this is going to be a great
That's a really good topic.
Yeah, and it's going to be live streamed. We've kindly requested that we do it a little bit later because we did find from our previous one some people really struggled to get there. So particularly for GPs, we've pushed as far as we can, I'm afraid. 6 p.m. It's going to be live streamed. We will load it up afterwards so you guys can watch and listen to it at a later date. But if you can join us live, mark it out. We'll be putting stuff out shortly in terms of getting onto there and things.
That's great. Did you want to shout out RCGP Bright Ideas?
Yeah, so we mentioned this in our chat with Nikki Kanani, RCGP Bright Ideas. So this is their concept of trying to support new innovation in primary care and things. And they've currently got their tranche of, I've got the word now.
Cohort,
that's the word. Cohort of people wanting to put ideas, and they will potentially help fund some of your ideas and then give you support, particularly in terms of mentorship and things. Go to the website, just search for RCGP Bright Ideas. They've also got another initiative. Sorry, I'm fasting at the moment, hence why my memory's not so great and caffeine depleted. But about innovation in primary care as well, and there's particular funding behind those kind of concepts. Again, just check out the RCGP website. Loads of stuff there for you.
Fantastic, and I'm going to mention now because I might forget to mention it at the end. Gandhi and I are involved in a really interesting opportunity for local GPs in the Nottinghamshire area, in collaboration with Health Education England and Connected Nottinghamshire. We will be launching a digital GP fellowship scheme. beginning anytime in the next few months. That's an opportunity for local GPs to do some work, some standard work in a local GP practice, do some work working at scale on digital work streams, digital projects, developing some output to really help equip the whole area really for the upcoming digital transformation, and also some funding to spend some time, funded time, to do some study in a sort of recognised qualification, perhaps a diploma or PG cert in the technology field. It's a really great opportunity, and we'll definitely include some notes, some information in the show notes about that. Good, but I guess let's jump into digital assistants. We've got our assistants waiting and ready in the sidelines. So Gary, how are we going to test? What can people expect from this episode?
Yeah, so what we basically thought about is how can you use these digital assistants for health. So we're not specifically talking about in the conversation, but we will cover that towards the end. But generally speaking, can these be an effective tool to help you if you have a health query? So we're going to look at 5 different areas. So emergency situations, what can they do? Can they help you in those kind of things? Finding services, accessing booking services, general health information, and then just health advice and that kind of stuff as well. We're going to basically ask each of these assistants in turn the same questions to see what their answers are like, and then we're going to give you the opportunity to hear them, but also give our perspective afterwards in terms of where that's effective or not, and you guys tell us what you think, hopefully. Yeah,
so it should be exciting. It's a little bit of a technical challenge this time. We normally try and edit these things in one take or near as much. You might find the editing a little bit more choppy as we remove any sort of dead time or problems that we have. But but if these digital assistants really slip up, we're going to try and show that to you as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Good, right. So shall we jump in? So the first category is emergency assistance. So these digital assistants, they're present in our homes. Sometimes they're with us on our phones. Even might be present on your watch or in your ear if you've got Apple AirBuds. So they're with us. They might be with us when no one else is, or when there's a problem. So there's the potential for digital assistants to help in an emergency. So shall we run through some questions?
Yeah. Do you want to go first?
Okay. So just to go. So the Alexa, we have to be careful saying the names. The Alexa device is mine. I've been using that. We're using my phone with Siri, and Gandhi's brought along Google Assistant, who is Gandhi's assistant. So, Alexa, call me an ambulance.
I'm sorry, I can't help. Please use your phone to call 999.
Okay, so not that much help.
No.
But at least directed me to my phone.
Yeah.
Right. Hey Siri, call me an ambulance.
Just to confirm, you'd like to call Aaron Davis?
No.
Ooh.
Okay.
Right, now I'm going to give Siri a second chance here.
Yeah.
Because in testing, Siri was better than that. Hey Siri, call me an ambulance.
Calling emergency services.
Right, I'm going to dive in to stop Siri.
Okay.
Okay, so that's better.
So as you guys hopefully saw, because we cut out to show you what happened, effectively it started calling 999. So we quickly stopped it because we don't want to false call 999. Sensible use of the emergency service is very paramount at this moment in time. But yeah, it worked quite well, didn't it?
Yeah, I think that's useful. If you're on the floor, you can't get to the phone or your device. It was interesting. It started to do it, and it gave you time to stop it, but then it was going to do it even if you didn't physically touch the device. So I thought that's quite well thought out feature. I didn't notice on the screen there were 2 options: call, and I had to click a blank space where I think it should have said cancel.
Yeah.
But it didn't actually say cancel in that space.
Yeah, so I noticed that as well.
That was odd.
There wasn't an actual part that said cancel. It just assumed, I think, that you kind of went for big red button kind of thing.
Yeah.
But actually, that may be something worth looking at.
Yeah, there was a bit. There were 2. It was divided down the middle. I wanted to call, and on the other side, I presumed it said cancel, which is why I tapped that area. I tapped that area, but it didn't actually cancel. So that's a potential problem, I think. Right.
So let's give the other one a go. So, hey Google, call me an ambulance. Oh, looks like Google's gone to sleep. Hey Google, call me an ambulance.
Sorry, emergency calls aren't available on Google Home.
Ooh, not as good as Alexa then. So
No,
it
probably-
didn't direct us to use our phone or any other kind of options. It just kind of said, sorry, I can't do that.
Okay, so I'm putting Siri out ahead
Yeah,
on that one.
definitely.
But I suppose it benefits from being on a phone,
Yes.
I think. And I suppose we're not testing Google Assistant on a phone.
No.
Maybe there's some different behaviour there, so we'll maybe give them a little bit of slack for
Mhm.
that. Right, let's try another question. Alexa, tell me how to do CPR.
For health questions, search the health and fitness category of the skills store in the
Alexa,
Alexa
stop.
app and enable your favourite health skill.
Alexa, stop. Okay, not that helpful. But Alexa did remind me that. So Alexa has Alexa skills. So if you want to add additional functionality, you can install skills, and there's a whole area of the Alexa app dedicated to skills that you can install. So we did actually install a few skills. We'll talk about that when we talk about Alexa later. But you have to sort of ask Alexa to reference the skill when you're doing, which is a little bit more fiddly, but it does open up some more functionality. But do you want to try the CPR question with?
Yeah, I guess one thing to just explain to our listeners a bit more clearly. So, the whole Amazon Alexa kind of system effectively is designed that you have, as Andy said, you have these extra skills. Best way to think about it is they're extra apps that you have to install into the app of Alexa in order to get that kind of functionality and things. And once you've done that, you get the full gamut of what those app providers or the skill providers then do. And there's a variety of different things. There's things for shopping, there's things for health, there's things for fitness, all that kind of stuff. There is a wide variety, and health one is a growing market from what we've seen. But yeah, let's give Google a try, shall we? So, hey Google, tell me how to do CPR.
On the website nhs.uk, they say, place the heel of your hand on the centre of the person's chest, then place the other hand on top and press down by 5 to 6 centimetres at a steady rate of 100 to 120 compressions a minute. After every 30 chest compressions, give 2 rescue breaths.
Okay, that's pretty instructive.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so it tells you exactly what to do, it tells you how to do it, and it also gives you a reference, which was quite cool, wasn't it?
That's good. Right.
A decent reference as well to the NHS UK website.
Yeah, that's something that's nice about the Google.
Yeah.
Is it tells you where the information's from, which is really good. Hey Siri, tell me how to do CPR.
Okay, I found this on the web for tell me how to do CPR.
I'm going to lean
Check
in
it
and
out.
just see. Okay, so it's not told us verbally, but it's referenced a video on CPR on YouTube, which I'm sure would be helpful in that situation, but you just need to touch the phone. But then again, I suppose it's operating in a different form factor at the moment to the others, which don't have a touch screen. So, okay, fair enough. So,
and it did give a variety of options as well. So underneath that was the British Heart Foundation website. So technically a trusted resource in that context. So that should also have quite good quality information and things. But yeah, not too bad.
Good.
I'd probably say Google eked it though.
I think Google. Yeah, I think we're going Google one, then Siri, then Alexa.
Yeah.
But maybe we could find a CPR skill for Alexa. I did look before and I couldn't find anything appropriate.
So maybe something for those developers out there to think about. There isn't currently, as far as we can see, a decent skill for Alexa talking about how to do CPR. So,
or it's not very visible within the Alexa skills ecosystem. So let's try another question. So sometimes you come across a health problem. I just need to know what to do.
Yeah.
So something common like a nosebleed. Alexa, how do I treat somebody with a nosebleed?
According to the NHS website, to stop a nosebleed yourself, you should sit or stand upright. Pinch your nose just above your nostrils for 10 to 15 minutes. Lean forward and breathe through your mouth, and place an ice pack at the top of your nose. If doctors can see where the blood is coming from, they may seal it by pressing a stick with a special chemical on it to stop the bleeding. If this isn't possible,
Alexa,
doctors
stop
might
there.
pack your...
So very descriptive.
Yeah,
very clear.
Lots of information.
Yeah.
Okay, and did tell us where it was from as well.
Yeah.
Which was good.
Cool. Hey Google, how do I treat a nosebleed?
Here is some information from the web that might possibly help. On the website nhsinform.scot, they say, to stop a nosebleed, Sit down and firmly pinch the soft part of your nose, just above your nostrils, for at least 10 to 15 minutes.
This sounds familiar.
Lean forward and breathe through your mouth. This will drain blood into your nose instead of down the back of your throat.
That's different.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. The thing I like there is Google sort of knew when to stop,
Yeah.
which was good. I got the feeling that Amazon was going to read the NHS website to us, so that was helpful.
And I think one of the things I liked, it picked a reference that was clear and concise. So Google actually mentioned the reason why you lean forward, which actually a lot of patients forget. And one of these myths about nosebleeds is that you stick your head backwards, and that's actually one of
Pinch
the
the
worst.
hard part of your nose.
Yeah.
That's what people still tell me now.
And that's one of the worst things you can do because potentially the blood does go back down your throat. But Google actually explains why you need to lean forward, so I did like that quite a lot.
I like that. And again, shorter.
Yeah.
It's an emergency, remember, so
Yeah.
you need short advice. So that's good. Right. Hey Siri, how do I treat a nosebleed?
Okay, I found this on the web for how do I
You
deal
have
with
to lean in
nosebleed.
again.
Check it out.
So we've got nosebleeds, causes and treatments, illness
Okay.
and conditions from the NHS Inform site. And we've got nosebleeds first aid from the Mayo Clinic. So that's an American-based website, quite well respected. And then next down we've got WebMD and Royal Berkshire Hospitals. So variety of different ways.
Okay, and again, we're having to click the screen, but then again, it is a phone.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different. So, okay, fair enough. I'm thinking Google's
Again.
edged it there a little bit. I think, and then perhaps Alexa. I like if it's an emergency, I've got to do something with my hands. I think a lot of the time. So I like being told what to do. So
Definitely.
that's good. Okay, should we try something a little bit more complicated?
Okay. Go
So,
for it.
Alexa, what do I do if someone swallows bleach?
Sorry, I'm not sure about that.
At least she's honest.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're sort of pushing the boundaries of Alexa's capability there, I guess.
Hey Google, what do I do if someone swallows bleach?
On the website science.howstuffworks.com, they say, as long as you aren't throwing up or convulsing, drink 4 to 8 ounces of milk or water to dilute the bleach.
And then,
Hey Google, and then?
And then what?
Okay.
and then seek help, perhaps. Okay, so that was interesting because that was, that was probably good advice.
Yeah.
So
So,
I don't
we
know how
don't
to-
recognise the
yeah.
website, but it was good advice. They
Yeah.
say.
Sorry, I don't understand.
That's okay. So it was good advice, but I guess the thing that both Andy and I were kind of hoping for was then it said, and then seek further help, i.e. go to A&E if not, or other kind of support and stuff, and it didn't mention that. Now, whether that's because it was taking information from that particular website, which that website doesn't have that information, but in context-wise, it wasn't...
I'm not sure that was safe,
yeah.
to be honest. It went a little bit further, which was impressive,
So
actually.
it did better than Alexa, because Alexa just couldn't answer the question at all. It tried to answer it, but it kind of didn't give the answer that you would expect a health service to give.
I think Alexa is better there because
Okay.
Alexa just couldn't deliver any of it. So
True.
Alexa was honest. She didn't know the answer.
Mm.
Google sort of knew half the answer, and maybe that's a little bit dangerous if people just follow that advice. They could
True, sometimes
they
a little
could
bit of
tell.
information is worse than no information at all.
Right. I want to ask Siri. Hey Siri, what do I do if somebody swallows bleach?
Okay, I found this on the web for what do I do if somebody swallowed bleach. Check it out.
Okay, the poisoning section of NHS
Website.
is probably a very good source.
Yeah. Interestingly, it doesn't mention, so it's got 5 options and it doesn't mention the site that Google brought up for us in the top 5. So there are more that you can scroll down through. But the website that Google referenced us to, it's not listed on Siri's one. And obviously they are different ecosystems and that kind of thing, but you would typically expect with the way the search algorithms work and things, they would normally reference, similar sorts of things. So I guess that's interesting to recognise, particularly given Google is obviously the king of search.
I think think, now correct me if I'm wrong, I think, is Siri powered by Bing?
Yeah, I can't remember.
It might be.
So it depends what you've also got set, because you can change the default search engine as well.
Well, you can in Safari, but I think Siri might be powered by
Possibly.
Bing. I don't know if you can change that, but anyway, but that might explain the different results.
Yeah, but I guess even then, the different search algorithms typically have similar search.
They're all trying to give you the best, most relevant
Exactly.
answer, so they ought to converge.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I guess I'm getting the idea that Siri is basically surfacing web search results for us when we ask these questions. So I'm beginning to question how clever that actually is as we progress through the test.
It does something that maybe doesn't do what we're kind of hoping it would do.
Yeah, it doesn't give, and it's probably just the impression of additional intelligence that you get when something speaks something back to you and reads the website rather than just gives you the link. So maybe the others aren't that much more clever, but they seem a little bit more clever.
Okay.
So that was interesting. So sometimes you need help in emergency. Sometimes you just want to find your nearest A&E department.
Yeah.
So
imagine you're lost in a new city and you don't know where you are and you just want to find something and you've got a digital assistant with you, so we're going to give that a try. So, hey Google, where is my nearest A&E?
The address for the Queen's Medical Centre is Derby Road, Nottingham NG 72UH.
And can you send me, hey Google, can you send me directions?
The best way to get to the Queen's Medical Centre by car is via Clifton Boulevard A52 and will take about 9 minutes in light traffic. You can see the full directions on your phone.
And as you heard, so Google does actually send those directions to your phone. And if you have a look, I'm going to bring my phone into your field of view, guys. You can see that it's just here. Oh, we've got the other one as well. So Swallow Beach as well. So that's one of the things that we haven't mentioned that Google does do. It pretty much sends all your search results to your phone as well, that's linked up with the system. So it gives you that extra information. And in this situation, obviously, having the directions to where to go, you click on that, opens up Google Maps, and you've got the directions and how to get there straight away. So it does work seamlessly in that respect.
Yeah, so that was impressive. And I bet the Google Assistant experience is probably pretty good on the phone. That's going to be even more seamless, isn't it?
Yeah, so obviously the system that powers Google Home is the Google Assistant, which is uniform across all of Google's products. So whether it's smartphones, watches, digital assistants, it's the same back-end system. So that would give you the same experience, kind of how Siri would work with the iPhone and the watch kind of thing. But I must admit, I don't know the difference in functionality between the two. But Google products pretty much have the same functionality because it's the same system and back-end in it.
Similar with the Apple products. Okay, cool. Let's try the others. Alexa, where is the nearest A&E department?
I found a yard department. It is 2 kilometres away on Pentagon House, London Road in Nottingham. It is currently closed but will be open on Monday
Alexa,
from
stop.
9 a.m. to 5.
So, that wasn't very good, was it?
Should we try emergency department?
Yeah, see if she's American. I think she misheard me. Alexa, where is the nearest emergency department?
Here are a few nearby ones. 1. The art department. 2. Your IT department. 3.
Alexa,
Westgate department.
go to the bottom of the class. That's not very good at all. Okay, that was quite disappointing, actually.
Yeah, so it didn't even recognise the logo of the department. So we're based in Nottingham, our local A&E is the Queen's Hospital and stuff, and didn't pick that up, not even in its top 3.
I think what we're seeing here is where Google, and we may see in a minute, Siri, have an advantage because of the different services provided by their parent company, because they both have map apps that provide directions, and Alexa doesn't have that, or Amazon doesn't have a mapping system that it can tap into. So that's probably what we're seeing here.
It's surprising considering Amazon's probably the best logistics company in the world.
That's true. Maybe they should buy a consumer level map company from somewhere. Maybe they've all been bought. Okay, and hey Siri, where is the nearest A&E department?
The closest one I found is the hospital group, Nottingham Clinic on the Triangle. Is that the one you're looking for?
Let's have a look at them. I'm going to have a look at your map, Siri, but I don't think it is.
No.
And it's gone. But no, that wasn't right either.
You're welcome.
But you didn't quite do what I wanted. Okay, so that was a little bit disappointing, considering that Apple have a map, and I'm sure if I typed A&E department into Apple Maps, I'm sure it would tell me that it was a QMC, so that's not quite joined up. So that's a bit disappointing. So, so Google, the only one really helpful there. Yeah. But actually very helpful.
Yes. Clear instructions, sends the directions to your phone, you can get there straight away, quickly and effectively as a result of that.
Yeah. I'm going to ask a question that might stretch them here.
Okay, let's go for it.
Let's see. So this is a much more complicated job for an assistant. So finding services, we don't always just ask for it, might ask something a little bit more contextual. So Alexa, I think I've got a sexually transmitted infection.
Sorry, I don't know that.
Okay, fine. I'm going to ask Siri. I'm just wondering if it'll surface the STI clinic. I'll ask Google if you're too embarrassed to ask.
No, that's fine.
Okay. So I didn't think about that. Hey Siri, I think I have a sexually transmitted infection.
Infection is the invasion of an organism's body tissues by disease-causing agents, their multiplication, and the reaction of host tissues to the
even more
infectious
alarmed.
agents and the toxins they
So,
produce.
so those of you that are watching this will see that Siri didn't actually pick up all of what Andy said at that point. So all it picked up was "Hey Siri, infection." It didn't get the STI bit.
Yes.
Yeah. Interestingly, Siri's picking up white voice now.
Okay.
Try.
Okay. Yeah, see what Google does. You never know.
Okay.
Google's smart so far.
Hey Google, I think I have a sexually transmitted infection.
On the website youngwomenshealth.org, they say, many STIs are spread through contact with infected body fluids such as blood, vaginal fluids, or semen. They can also be spread through contact with infected skin or mucous membranes, such as sores in the mouth. You may be exposed to infected body fluids and skin through vaginal, anal, or oral sex.
Hey Google, where should I go if I have a sexually transmitted infection?
On the website nhs.uk, they say, if you think you may have a sexually transmitted infection, go to your GP or local sexual health or genitourinary medicine clinic.
Hey Google, where is my nearest sexual health clinic?
The address for NHS Nottingham Sexual Health Service is Victoria Health Centre, Glasshouse Street, Nottingham NG13LW.
And that would be the closest one. Yeah, city's a little bit further away, so that is the closest.
Yeah, that's the closest. Oh, round of applause for Google.
Definitely.
That was very good. And what was happening there, Gandhi?
So I think the key thing so Google had an answer to the first question. It may not have been the kind of answer we were hoping for, but actually it was a very open-ended question, because to be honest, if we even asked the question, we didn't ask the question the first time around. But then what Google shows is this iterative process that it follows on. And sometimes, if you start that process, you don't even have to use the open code, the Hey Google or the OK Google kind of thing, because it will just continue flowing from that kind of view. Thank you, Google. Whereas one of the things that we do know is when we've tried this with Alexa, it doesn't work in the same way. It just doesn't seem to have that follow-on process, and that I think again that's the power of Google's search capabilities and things.
Alexa sometimes has that functionality, but it's if it's within a skill, and a third party has written the branched sort of algorithm for that. But Google very, very impressed with that performance there. So we're going to move on to some other areas, and these are sort of brushing into the future now. I think. Okay. So we're going to ask some questions, and my expectations are low for these next few questions.
Let's see what happens.
But I think they highlight where they may be helpful in the future. Actually, further down, I think I'm more helpful. But so in the future, I think maybe this is a way that we can access or book appointments with our services. Wouldn't it be great if somebody could ask their digital assistant to book an appointment with their GP, for example, and maybe the digital assistant goes off and calls the GP surgery or interfaces with the back end of the GP surgery's booking system and books an appointment, comes back and tells them that it's booked. Wouldn't that save everybody so much time? The patient, the receptionist, that'd be fantastic. And maybe add some triage in there. Oh goodness me, wouldn't that be great? But I suppose just to ask the very basic question, I will ask Alexa, book me an appointment with my GP, please.
It looks as though I no longer have access to your calendar account. To relink, visit the calendar
Alexa,
settings
stop.
in your Alexa.
So I wasn't expecting Alexa to be able to do anything. Now,
Okay.
Google's been really impressive.
Mhm.
Although I'll eat my Apple Watch if Google can do this.
Okay. Hey Google, book me an appointment at my GP.
I couldn't verify your voice, so I can't add anything to your calendar.
What?
You can either try again or verify your voice match settings in the Google Home app.
Same problem with access to calendar. Okay, that's interesting.
Sure. Well, I don't understand why I can't verify my voice because it does access my calendar at home. I'm going to give that one more try just in case it went funny. Hey Google, book me an appointment at my GP.
Sure, when is the event?
Tomorrow,
At what time?
11 o'clock.
Sure, meeting with GP tomorrow at 11 a.m.
Okay.
Do you want to save that?
No, thank you.
What do you want to change?
So Gandhi, when you turn up at your GP tomorrow at 11, is that going to work out okay?
Hey Google, stop.
All right, is that going to work out okay? Hey Google, stop tomorrow at 11 a.m. Do you want to save that?
No.
What do you want to change?
Okay, we've gone down a little bit of a rabbit hole here. Hey Google, stop.
Sorry, what would you like to change? You can also say, cancel it.
Hey Google, cancel it.
Sure, I didn't save it.
Okay, so sorry about that, guys. But what we saw, so I know for a fact that Google the Google Home can put things into my reminder calendar, and that's basically what we saw there. So it didn't try and put me an appointment in the GP practice because tomorrow is actually Sunday, and my GP is not open on a Sunday. But even then, it defaulted to the calendar aspect to try and book an appointment, as in my calendar, not necessarily integrating with obviously the GP services and things. So it did something again, a little bit of something rather than the whole thing. Is that good? But as Andy said, we weren't expecting this to work fully yet, and we'll explain why in a little bit. But shall we give Siri a try just before we do that?
Let's give Siri a chance. I'm sort of losing faith with Siri a little bit here.
Well,
It's going to give us a web search, isn't it? That's what it's going to do. Hey Siri, book me an appointment with my GP.
Sorry, Andrew. I don't see any matches in your contacts.
That's actually interesting. That's probably a function of it being on the phone. But maybe if I'd got my GP number in there, it would have dialed my GP, which would have been helpful. Not quite the technological marvel that I was hoping for in terms of interfacing with the API. But okay, fair enough. Winner, I think.
Yeah, I'd agree. At least,
not
it
for
got
that.
somewhere. That's the key thing. And I think one of the things the reason we weren't expecting this to work effectively is because we know that currently a lot of GP services may not be set up to do this fully and effectively. However, this may change. Obviously, the NHS app is now going out for almost full release. It's currently in beta and it is actually being released in a variety of different areas. And if you want to have a look at our perspective of that, we did an episode a few months back about what we think it may look like. Actually, I think we're going to do another one soon, aren't we? About looking at what it actually looks like, because hopefully both Andy and I will have access to it soon. So we can have a go at that. But effectively, once the NHS app is up and running, it should allow better integration. And what we hope would also see from the people like Google or Alexa or the other kind of things, they develop those systems that integrate directly with that. And I think until that happens, it's not going to happen effectively. So watch this space, I think is probably the best thing to say.
But maybe, because they're talking about sort of backdoor interaction, the application protocol interface, your APIs, as they say, between the NHS app and GP systems, and the NHS app says it's going to try and be in some ways an open platform for other apps to link into, like Amazon Skills, like maybe Google or Siri. So could happen quicker than we think.
Yeah, and the reason why we're quite hopeful about this, and some of you may have seen the video from Google about, I think it's almost a year ago actually now, where it tried to book an appointment at hairdressers. And the interesting thing is that a lot of people didn't realise that the person that the speaker was talking to was actually Google. They thought it was a real person. It was that fluid. It was that effective. They even stuck in the ums and the ahs to make you think you were talking to a real person, to make it more lifelike. Yeah,
and it sparked that whole debate about should should artificial, should digital assistants like that
Yeah.
actually announce and demonstrate that they are digital assistants rather than real people?
Yeah.
Was it unethical for it to sound so much like a real person, which I thought was interesting?
Yeah.
The other thing that was interesting about that was that sort of removes the need for a technological setup at the other end. So in theory, you could ask Google to do that, and then you have no other input, and Google goes off, waits 90 seconds, say, for the GP surgery to pick up the telephone call, talks to the receptionist, books the appointment for you, and then tells you that it's done. Or maybe you have to wait for longer, but you could do something else while you're waiting.
I personally don't think we'll get to that level of sophistication purely and simply because it's then, do you get the right type of appointment you need? It's not as simple as booking in for a hairdresser's appointment where you have a set potential amount of time and what they do and that kind of thing. Obviously the type of service you may need at your GP practice will be completely different. Which clinician you want to see, or which type of clinician you want to see, which particular service you're using. That's so much more complex, and that's one of the reasons why we have expert navigators, which is our reception staff, to help you achieve that. Whether Google could do that for each individual practice, this is the key thing. Every practice is different. Every practice will offer different services, so having that across that gamut, I don't think will work. However, a separate system that interface with that, so there are systems that allow that to happen from the practice perspective. That happened, maybe. It might work.
Or maybe you'll have humans talking to digital assistant receptionists
Possibly.
on the other end, maybe, or any combination of all of those things. Yeah, exciting.
Watch this space.
Right. So that was interesting. Another area where, and actually this is becoming back into the more possible realm, health information.
Yeah.
So often we look at information on the internet, don't we, on a visual screen, but sometimes if you want to ask about your new drug while you're chopping up your vegetables to cook you a healthy meal, that might be another way you can interact with health information. So shall we try a few things? So I've just been to my GP. Not really, but they put me on a statin, and maybe I want to ask some questions about that. So, Alexa, tell me about Simvastatin.
Simvastatin, marketed under the trade name Zocor among others, is a lipid-lowering medication.
Okay, knew when to stop. Bit of jargon in there. I'm not sure I necessarily know any more than my GP might have told me and stopped there, but okay.
I guess the word lipid over cholesterol. Majority of the population would probably use cholesterol rather than lipid kind of thing.
Interesting.
Do you want to try the follow on?
Alexa, tell me about potential side effects of Simvastatin.
Here's something I found from the article Simvastatin on Wikipedia. Simvastatin is an effective serum lipid-lowering drug that can decrease low-density lipoprotein levels by up to 50%.
Alexa, stop. I think it may have read the whole article, but I think it would have been some time to get to side effects. But okay, it told us where it was from and it gave us some further information. So that's interesting.
All right, let's give this a try then. Hey Google, tell me about Simvastatin.
According to Wikipedia, Simvastatin, marketed under the trade name Zocor among others, is a lipid-lowering medication.
Hey Google, what are the most common side effects?
I found 12 on the website webmd.com. Here are the first 5. Headache, difficulty sleeping, flushing of the skin, muscle aches, tenderness or weakness, and drowsiness.
Okay.
Want to hear more?
No, thank you.
Okay, let me know if you need me.
So that was good.
Yes. So one of the things that I was listening out for is whether it mentioned the big side effect that most people complain of with Simvastatin, which is the muscle aches, and it got there. 4th down the list, but then it was reading a list, so fair enough. Again, to show off the iterative aspects of things, some of you may have noticed, if you're watching or listening, that I didn't actually say in the second question, tell me the side effects of Simvastatin. I just said, tell me the side effects. And that's one of the iterative nature of Google, that it is much better than following on in a natural flow of that kind of conversation kind of thing. Whereas things like Alexa, you will potentially have to reference Simvastatin again to get that answer. It doesn't flow as effectively.
Yeah, it was very impressive, and it told us where the information was from as well.
Yeah.
So WebMD, okay, I'll trust that.
Yeah.
That's good. And it knew when to stop as well. So having some respect for Google.
Yeah, I mean, there was 12 options. It only read off the top 5, which was good. I guess
Maybe you wanted more, actually, but it asked, did you want more?
Yeah.
So it sort of stopped and then said, do you want me to carry on? Which I quite liked.
Yeah, definitely.
So that was quite impressive. So yeah, so there's potential for health information here, isn't there?
Yeah.
So that's good. Shall we move on to this probably is the future.
Siri?
Oh, Siri. Gosh, we're forgetting about Siri.
Yeah.
Siri, give me a web search for Simvastatin. Right. Hey, Siri. Tell me about Simvastatin.
I don't really know.
Okay, I think Siri doesn't know.
No.
Siri is struggling here. Candy, you just tweeted. That was impressive.
That's quite impressive.
Yeah.
I managed to tweet a photo without doing anything.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay. I think Siri's behind the curve here.
Yeah.
Quite clearly. But that's okay. And Siri and Apple perhaps respect privacy in more ways. There's maybe we'll come to that towards the end.
Okay.
But not good in terms of performance.
Let's crack on.
Yeah. So the next area, and I think this is getting into the future, is sort of health advice and health assessment. So I'm sort of thinking, well, Babylon and other companies have done some impressive things in terms of some algorithmic history taking from patients, and following a sort of branched system where you answer one question and then it gives you relevant questions to that question and gets you to a place where it can potentially give you some health advice or have offered you a health assessment. So I thought let's try that with these devices and see where we go. So I'm going to try Alexa. Now, as we mentioned before, Alexa has this skills facility. So plain old Alexa can do a lot, but developers can write skills for Alexa, and they can put those skills in the skills store or skills section of the Alexa app, and you can activate them on your Alexa, and then you can do more with your Alexa. So have a look before we started at the health section. It's actually a little bit sparse in terms of good skills. So I think there's an opportunity for developers to develop there. So if any developers out there, develop some meaningful stuff for that section, and you might get some traction. So I found something called Dr. Alex, which claims to offer health assessments. So let's try. So Alexa, start Dr. Alex.
Hi, I am Dr. Alex. You can tell me your symptoms, but always check with your doctor as well. Try saying, I have symptoms of fever.
I have symptoms of diarrhea.
Tell me your symptoms. Try saying, I have symptoms of fever.
Something simpler.
Okay. I have a headache.
Tell me your symptoms.
I have a headache.
I have symptoms of fever.
I have a headache.
There are chances that you may have headache. See a general practice doctor. Do you want more information on headache?
Yes.
Also called headache, it is very common and often pain is due to another illness and the cause of the pain is not exactly known. Do you want to know the treatment also?
Yes.
Headache can be treated by alleviating it with painkillers. You can tell me more symptoms and I may diagnose you.
Alexa, stop. So I had some
Thank
problems
you for
with
coming
that.
to Dr. Alex. Get well soon.
Well, that's nice. So initially, the first thing it did was tell us to see a GP, and I guess with two GPs in here, a lot of what we see we may feel could have been dealt with elsewhere or managed at home. That is not going to help that situation at all. So that's very unhelpful, and that's probably the app makers making something of an attempt to manage the risk they feel they may hold, although I'm not sure they've even done that very well.
Yeah, I'd say that's a way of not managing the risk at all by deflecting it to anyone but themselves.
And very, very low level advice and telling us the cause is often unknown. I mean, I guess that's true, but it didn't feel very helpful.
No.
What did you think about that, Danny?
I'm not impressed at all. As you guys probably tell by my face, So I think ultimately, if that was what the the limit of the offers, and we did try a couple of questions there, seems to be. Personally, I wouldn't even touch that. Sorry guys, but yeah. Needs to be better.
So disappointing, verging on dangerous, I would say, potentially.
Okay.
Should we try Google? Google doing very well so far, so let's see what we do.
Okay. Hey Google.
Sorry.
Hey Google, I have a headache.
I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you feel better.
Hey Google, what should I do if I have a headache?
On the website helpline.com, they say, using a cold compress may help reduce your headache symptoms. Applying cold or frozen compresses to the neck or head area decreases inflammation, slows nerve conduction and constricts blood vessels, all of which help reduce headache pain.
I've never told anyone to do that.
No, I haven't. Me neither.
Cold compress. Sounds very old-fashioned to me.
It does.
So I'm not sure that's good advice.
No. I mean, it didn't have the sophistication to be able to understand, I guess, what I was asking. Again, I didn't really ask a question, but it was potentially implied. This is that whole aspect of linguistics and nuance that in terms of conversation versus actual asking something. But then obviously change the question to say, I have a headache, what should I do? And with that, it's still, no.
Yeah,
it didn't really do a great job of it.
Yeah, but I still think this is an area where if somebody who knows what they're doing, perhaps one of those companies who developed some skill and expertise and got data from operations elsewhere, looking at you, Babylon, or the others in that sector, they could probably make something.
I'd imagine companies like Ada and that kind of stuff probably have much more sophisticated kind of things, and whether they integrate with these kind of systems. But we couldn't find an Ada or Babylon skill on Alexa. And in terms of Google, there isn't really a system that does that as such. Although neither of us, I don't think, have those apps on our phones, so maybe that may be the reason why. So maybe if we had those, that might be a different thing. But,
yeah, maybe. But I think there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah, definitely.
In the future, and I think if you start to join up maybe some sort of structured inquiry about your symptoms with some ability to triage or signpost, with the ability to book an appointment with your nearest, with your GP or your nearest appropriate clinic, and tell you how to get there, and give you advice about managing those symptoms in the meantime, it could become really, really powerful. But we're not there yet, clearly.
Okay. Moving on to our last section, and let's talk about therapy effectively. So we wanted to ask the question, can these devices help you treat particular conditions? So not in the sense of where do we go for the treatment, actually help you treat things. So we've got a particular one that we're going to try, and let's see if it works. So, hey Google, open Headspace.
Okay, here's Headspace.
Welcome back to Headspace. You can do today's meditation, a sleep exercise, or unlock more meditations. Which would you like?
Hey Google, stop. There we go. So it opened the app. It would hopefully then allow me to integrate and work with it a bit more effectively. Interestingly, we tried it before and it didn't work as well because it didn't recognise my voice. But that's probably because I haven't linked up the two apps directly. So the individual app settings may need to be considered and things. Should we do yours?
Yeah, let's try it. Alexa, open Headspace.
Welcome back to Headspace. You can do today's meditation, a sleep exercise, or unlock more meditations. Which would you like?
Meditation.
Welcome back to Headspace. You can do today's meditation,
Alexa,
a sleep
stop.
exercise, or unlock
Alexa,
more
stop.
meditations.
Okay, I think we're probably seeing
Okay.
the
Hope
same
to see you again soon.
interface almost.
Yeah.
It sounded very similar, didn't it?
Should we quickly try Siri?
Let's try Siri, because I do have Headspace installed on my phone, I think. Hey Siri, open Headspace. Okay, cool.
So it's open the app directly.
Okay, which I think is helpful. There we go. I did uninstall and reinstall, so it's just sort of getting us going. But that was fairly good. I'm going to just close Headspace. But I think we're seeing more of some basic functionality within the phone to open apps there. So, so interesting. So, Candy, what are your impressions of where we're at with these digital assistants? Anything good? And I think we'll probably both have a few negative things to say.
So I think they do the basic very well. There's differences between the 3 different systems we've had a look at, and I would probably say Google eked it for me in terms of the capabilities and the functionality. I don't think they're at the place where we would say that they are perfectly safe, but then again, I don't think the companies themselves would either agree with that either. I don't think they would say that this is the, they're not specifically been designed to do this yet. So it's more people taking the system and trying to extrapolate it into another area. But hopefully we will see some improvement coming.
Yeah.
A couple of concerns, but I think we'll go through those after you've had your chance.
My good things. Yeah, so I agree. So I think Google was out there ahead. I think Google sometimes tried to go too far, perhaps a little bit, but on the whole, Google was really impressive. Then probably Alexa, although not quite as good as Google.
Monday,
Alexa,
Tuesday,
stop.
Wednesday.
So we're going to switch them off now.
And then probably Siri. But yeah, I'm impressed. I think it's easy to forget, even how difficult it is just to recognise people's voices and do something meaningful with it. So, they've come a long way in a short period of time. And I'm excited about the future, as I was saying before, about when you start to link together some of these features to actually send people on a patient journey using the digital assistant or contribute to the patient journey. I think that's going to be really, really useful. Also excited to see what happens when some of the bigger players in this space perhaps move into digital assistants. I'm sure they will going forwards. But yeah, so there's a few things that always crop up when we're talking about digital assistants, and so shall we say a few negative things?
Yeah. So I guess the big one is security. So there's lots of questions around the security aspects of these kind of digital assistants. Are they listening to you all the time? Where is that data being stored? How is it being stored? That kind of stuff. And I think that's a big question mark that we kind of have on these systems. And Google and the other companies will say that they don't leave their things on all the time, but then they do, so that they can pick up your voice when it needs to. So there's a question of where's that part is something that I think makes people feel a little bit uneasy about using it in this context, because your health data is probably the most sensitive and personal kind of stuff around. And if we are considering using this in that more extrapolated way, that deeper kind of way, it would need potential access to those kind of things.
And I would bet a lot of money to say that when you open up your browser and go to Google, it may well be giving you adverts for headache remedies now, because I bet that information has probably not been flagged as health information that you've given. It's just general information. It'll go in with the rest of the information bucket, and it'll be used to service you and to be sold to partners of Google and Amazon and all of the things that normally happen. Where I've got more confidence though is, so Apple take a strong privacy stance, and that's become part of their positioning within the market relative to the other tech companies. And they say that the processing happens on the device. It's anonymised data that is sent off the device to then service your information back. And I think that's perhaps why Apple maybe appears or is lagging behind in terms of some of the functionality with its digital assistant. But they've taken that decision to position themselves as much more pro-privacy than the other providers, in the hope that'll work out commercially for them, I suppose. But I think...
and this is that constant argument, and where do you draw the line, or where do you put that balance in terms of privacy versus functionality and things? Because the less privacy you have, the more functionality you can have, and vice versa. There is a middle ground I think we need, but each person's individual perspective of where that middle ground is will be completely different based on what they want to achieve and things.
So give the user some control over that.
And simple control, not terms and conditions that these teeny tiny, little words that mean that you can't really understand it.
Yeah.
But I guess the other area we wanted to talk about was also safety. So, you cannot work in medicine and not be aware of regulation and all this kind of stuff. But actually, regulation around these kind of things is very light at the moment. There isn't significant amounts of, services or that kind of stuff. One of the biggest criticisms of Babylon's service, for example, is the way that it can work and things. And it's not regulated. There isn't a regulation aspect in terms of the digital assistant part of it. Now, there may be something that people are looking into. So, as many of our listeners will know, we had a recent chat with Liz Chopin of Orca and how they're looking at the governance side of apps and that kind of things in the health market. Maybe this is an area that could be expanded into. Maybe this is an area that we will see other people potentially expand into. But definitely, this is something that needs to go hand in hand to give the assurity of safety. We talk about how, we saw that some of these did a half job, and actually that half job can be just as dangerous as not doing the job in the first place.
Yeah, just drink a few cups of milk after I've swallowed bleach and I'll be fine. I'm not sure that's safe.
That's not the greatest advice to give, if I'm being honest.
They almost, and if you look at advice on a website, even. They've normally somewhere on the page that you're looking at got a disclaimer, or they flag up in some way that this isn't really health advice, or this is only advice, and you should if you're in any doubt seek a medical professional's opinion and things like that. Which it kind of wasn't flagging up in the same way, so they almost need to recognise when they are in that realm of giving health advice, and then just make sure that they're doing that with a bit more caution than they might give to other areas. So so the safety was a big issue, was a bit alarming, I think, in some of the places. So I guess as we round up, shall we take each one in turn and say what we felt was positive or negative, or what we think about that space? So I'll give my impressions of Alexa first. So I live with Alexa, but I would say I've actually switched Alexa off for most of the time because I worry about Alexa listening to me. But she's come back for the purposes of this presentation. So privacy. I am worried about that. So Alexa, basic functionality, okay. The skills, I think that's where there's potential, and maybe Gandhi will explain more about Google's ecosystem, because I'm not quite sure how that works. But with Alexa, they have the core product. Skills are something different. Skills are something that any third-party provider can make. I believe the software development kit, the SDK that they use to make those is fairly simple. So I think there's a lot of potential there for organisations to come in, make skills, and add a lot of that functionality easy to Alexa. And also, you sort of know which skill you're using and where that skill's from. And I think there's some value in that as well. So that's something that I'm excited with about Alexa. Just for information, some of the skills that we had installed, some of them we didn't use in the demonstration. We had Headspace, we had First Aid from British Red Cross on there, we had Dr. Alex that we mentioned, we had something called Body Coach as well, because we wondered about asking a little bit in the health and fitness area, but didn't go there in the end during the episode. So Alexa did a good job of recognising our voice, or my voice. So I think Alexa probably has a place in the future of digital healthcare assistants, but it's not quite there yet.
Yeah, I think Alexa's okay. It's good for things like shopping and that kind of stuff, but for me, in this kind of space, it just didn't really work, actually. I felt, it's a bit, I think Google actually picked it up.
Oh, Google was fantastic.
Yeah, picked it on almost every possible area. And the thing that does really annoy me is the fact that Alexa opens every single time you say Alexa. So you can be watching a film and it will ping off and say, "Hi, I'm Alexa," kind of thing. You can be watching TV and the TV says Alexa and it comes up and things. That does really annoy me, at least with Google. You have that extra little thing of, "Hey Google." Now, yes, it's an extra word, and some people say, "Oh, I can't bother to say it." It's one time.
I can only help you with the second request. Okay.
But it's 2 words. They just need to add another word, don't they?
And I just think that makes it more effective and more sensible to be used in things rather than Alexa system. I can't go about Siri that much in terms of personal use because I don't use Siri at all. I don't have Apple products to be that effective, apart from tablets and things that I have in my clinical room that some of you guys would have seen in my videos. But I don't use Siri in that respect. So
I would reflect that. I think Siri was was bottom of the pile really, and it was servicing as search results a lot of the time. Yeah. But that can be useful. Where it was really quite good, I thought, was the calling an ambulance and
Yes.
giving us the sort of the option to cancel, but not actually having the word cancel there. But
So
you
I
can
think
see what they're doing.
direct integration with the phone is where
Yeah.
Siri will clearly beat the others and things. And it'd be interesting to see whether Google Assistant that's on my phone would do similar. We've not given that a try, but we're going to stick with just Google Home today.
Yeah.
But effectively, in that respect, direct integration with the phone, it works very well. Outside of that,
yeah, it was
basically web search.
it was surfacing web results. But Apple much more pro privacy, so maybe that's
that could be part of the
that's
reason.
perhaps a factor there. My reflections on Google are very, very impressed. I liked the way that it responded to follow-up questions around Simvastatin before we tested. That was really, really impressive. And I also quite like the way Google generally would tell us where the information was coming from. And it was places like NHS Scotland, NHS Choices, WebMD, recognisable sources which gave me faith in what it was saying. So I was really impressed. Perhaps just stretched too far.
Your phone as well.
Oh, phone integration, very good. Yeah, but Google perhaps just stretched too far in a few places.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
But we've sort of discussed that a few minutes ago, talking about safety. The other thing which just going to Siri, and where I think Siri or the Apple ecosystem perhaps is heading in a good direction, is that it's available in lots of different form factors. The others are as well. Google more so than Alexa, but certainly having it on your watch. You probably have Google Assistant on your watch, but that's helpful. And the Apple AirPods, which I've played around with but don't own a pair of, but having, say, Siri in your ear, if, say, Siri reaches a stage where it could tell you how to do CPR, going around with your earphones, having that in your ear, telling you what to do, perhaps even something more complicated than CPR, telling you what to do as you're dealing with an emergency, that could become something quite powerful. So I think there's something about making these things available in different form factors. So, final thoughts. Gandhi?
We wanted to ask this question of, could we use these in clinical practice? Now, we haven't gone into depth about that because I guess you've all figured out we probably don't think we can at this point. I think there are some possibilities maybe, and the one that I thought of that would be quite really useful is language translation. So again, if you go back about a year or so, Google showed off its language translation through its Google Pods, the earphone kind of things. And this was a live direct integration. It can live translate languages with another person there. So you can be speaking to somebody and with the Google phone and with the earpods, and it is specifically the earpods, it will live translate somebody speaking a completely foreign language direct into your ear. So kind of like the Babelfish, effectively. And obviously Google's ecosystem is on the Google Home. So you could potentially look at doing that if you had paired it with a pair of Google Pods and stuff. But again, it comes back to that security aspect, isn't it? It's constantly listening, where's that data going to, how's it being used, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's going into a server in America.
Yeah, and CQC don't like Google Translate. They really do not like it. So there's that other aspect of the fact that because of the data security, they say it's not appropriate for us to be used in a clinical context. However, when you have no translator, the patient can't speak any English, and you do not speak the language that they're in, and in that kind of situation, what is the safest thing to do? And if you had a live direct translator in your room with you, that could be effective. And one of the things we know particularly about the language translators, they are much better at things like, for example, European languages than non-European languages, purely because of the EU data. It could be something that is potentially usable in clinical practice in the near future, or even showing patients how to do some of these things. Showing a patient, this is what your system can do. This way you get health advice, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Or arranging appointments for yourself. We are busy clinicians. Both Andy and I are PCN directors now, so we have multiple other jobs. Sometimes you want to use your hands whilst doing something else. Multitasking is this potential way that could allow you to book your reminder for the fact you've got a call. And tomorrow afternoon about PCN stuff. Absolutely.
Help you with dictation, although there's other dictating records that might be useful. I think there's perhaps something exciting, perhaps not in the consultation room, but within the surgery, in terms of if they've got really good helping patients book an appointment, providing us perhaps additional capacity answering telephones with assistants answering telephones, taking a little bit of a history, booking appointments, directing people, signposting them. This is in the future, though.
Yeah.
Not now. Not ready for that at the moment at all. But I think that could be quite exciting as well. So yeah, anything else in the future you see digital assistants potentially helping with? That's one thing I see.
Yeah.
And this whole, if you join them all together, providing that all of those potential elements that make up a patient journey together, you can.
I think there's definitely some fluidity in seeing these kind of things, and particularly in terms of self-care. You're right. If they can get better at that, that would be a key area that may have a significant impact on patient health generally. So, Google, I've got a cold, and then it tells you, yeah, it sounds like you've got those symptoms, and then directs you to the local pharmacy to pick up some medication, or even, I'm guessing Alexa would probably arrange for Amazon to deliver that to you directly.
I'm sure they would.
So there is that aspect of self-care that would be really useful and powerful, I think, because one of the things I think we do need to encourage is better self-care. Finding services as well, so services you may not be aware of. Default for many patients will be to go to their GP practice for health things, but actually there are various things that are better serviced by other areas of the healthcare community, like your pharmacy, like the sexual health clinic, maybe better to see those particular things. And with the advent of primary care networks, we are going to see more and more services being developed that may mean that you do not necessarily need to go direct to a practice. And the biggest challenge is that a lot of people probably won't know what they are. It takes a while for that to happen. So, having better service direction, which actually I think these could do quite well. Yeah,
you just touched on something there. Because for things to happen, sometimes there needs to be a business model behind them.
Yep.
And you just touched on the ideal thing. Amazon Alexa is all about selling you stuff.
Yep.
So, linking in, so maybe the people who might have the most incentive to develop for Amazon Alexa may be pharmacies or Amazon's own pharmacy delivery service. So you can see that generating the interest to generate investment to develop a really good Alexa skill for assessing minor illness, for example. So that's a really good point that you made there. Yeah, so lots of exciting possibilities, and I think a lot of them are where it links up with other technologies as well. Oh, an area I think that we've not touched on is monitoring of illness as well. And perhaps if these devices could be more proactive, so might say, oh, Gandhi, it's time for you to take a blood pressure reading because you're supposed to be monitoring the blood pressure at home at intervals. Can you do that and verbally tell me? And I'll inform your GP. Or checking in on relatives who perhaps have memory problems, check that they're in the house, that they're okay. Perhaps there's a lower learning curve for getting patients like that to respond to verbal cues than other sorts of monitoring. So I think that's an interesting area that we've not really talked about. But any final thoughts, Gandhi?
So I guess one of the things we were interested to try was the language translation part of this, wasn't it? So one of the things we're going to put a little shout out to our listeners. We would like to give this a try in one of our future episodes. So effectively, if you are a person, so we do need somebody that understands health, so a clinician of some sort, and speaks a non-English language. And we're after two different types. So one is a European language. We also want to compare a non-European language. As we said, the language translation aspects of these systems is generally better for European languages because of EU data and that kind of stuff. So we want to give that a try. So if you're interested in joining us for an episode, ideally if you're in the Nottingham area, probably sensible, then get in contact with us because we're actually interested to have you come on the show and we will give it a go, effectively. And that's mainly because me and Andy, so I speak another language enough to do it, but I think it'd be nice to have a different perspective. But I don't speak a European language well enough to do that, I'm afraid.
Interestingly, that's where we're lacking. The European language is probably the hardest for us to find. Probably.
So if any of you are interested and want to come join us, feel free, get in contact with us. And in terms of that, so I'm Dr. Gandalf52 or EGP Learning on Twitter, and as many of you know, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, almost every social media channel going.
Social media baron.
And Andy?
Yeah, so I'm at Dr. A.W. Foster on Twitter. Avoidingpuddles.com is my blog. So get in touch with me too.
Yeah, we hope you guys enjoy this episode. We've really enjoyed making this. It's been lots of fun. And hopefully this looks awesome in the post-editing as we...
Hopefully lots of editing to do.
And if you guys are listening, I hope you've enjoyed hearing our adventures with digital assistants that we've been trying, giving them a trial and stuff. please leave us a review if you can, whichever platform you're listening or watching on. It really does help us, and actually we're keen to know what you guys think of these episodes. It spurs us on to create more of these kind of things. So if you have got to this point and you're still listening, guys, please just leave a comment, leave a review, anything. We would really appreciate it.
Good, right, so it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me, and we'll see you guys soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Alexa? Oh, she's switched off.
Yeah.
I was going to Alexa to say goodbye.